Chop, chop, chop it down. Chop, chop, chop. Chop, chop, chop it down. Chop, chop, chop. Chop it down, chop it down, chop it down. You gon' chop it down. Chop it down, chop it down, chop it down. You gon' chop it down. Damn, set, watch him throw the ball. We gon' pick it off. You gon' let him hit the hole or you gon' cut it off. You gon' play through fourth and long or you gon' punt it off. Your defenders, heavy hitters, put your pads in. Don't be looking for the ref to throw no flags in. Keep the helmet on, keep the cleats tight. You the type to want to win by any means, right? You should look alive. This is Trap or Die.
I'm on mute. Yes, sir. Welcome back to another episode of the Washington Commanders Morning Show. I am your host of the Trap or Die podcast, Mual. Good morning to everybody. JB, what's up with you? Al 2, what's up with you? Welcome to the morning show, to the early trappers, to the morning trappers. What am I doing? Appreciate everybody who's tapping in live, man. Look, I'm laughing I was laughing because I did the podcast last night, all 32, and I couldn't understand, or I really couldn't grasp how excited I was about Washington being in this position. I told them it's funny because I did exactly what I said I was going to do, bro. I was like, I can't wait to go to sleep to get to the next day. We only it's Wednesday. We got 1, 2, 3. We got 4 more days until championship Sunday, bro. I'm like, bro, as soon as we off this record, I'm going to sleep. I ain't got time for nothing else except for sleep. Granted, we did go a little late, and I had to get up early anyway, but it helps. On the show, on Trap or Dive this week, we have a couple of extra podcasts and bonus episodes. What's up, Tim? Good morning, boss man. We have a couple bonus episodes. We will have, I said it on the show yesterday, Aaron Schatz. Aaron Schatz is a data guy, Chief Analytics Officer of FTN Fantasy. He's also the creator of DVOA. If you are local in the DMV area, you've probably heard him on the radio a few times discussing the DVOA aspect, the advanced analytics to Jaden, Washington Commanders, etc. He also works for ESPN Plus as an NFL analyst. We'll have a recording. It won't be live. So just be on the lookout for that on the channel. And we'll have a good conversation. We haven't really had a data guy on Trap or Dive before, so that'll be cool to kind of get to understand. I mean, well, we listen, but just to have the conversation and know just how they're performing from an analytical standpoint. And it'll be cool to get some nuggets from him. We'll also have a conversation with Kirk Benkirk, former NFL quarterback. He's made himself a good living. Well, let me rephrase it because I don't know the type of money he makes, but he's had a good social media presence and has a good content creator presence on YouTube. So it'll be good to pick his brain. Yeah, Madden player. Yeah. He does the Madden stuff. So it'll be good to pick his brain on what he's saying from Jaden and just getting a little preview from an unbiased lens on the NFC Championship game. Film session is coming out today as well. I know I'm rapping with the administrative items, but just keeping everybody up to date with the channel. We got a lot going on this week, man. So film session is coming out today on Jaden Daniels and Cliff Kingsbury cooking the out of the Detroit Lions. So that'll be up on the channel as well. We're moving forward, by the way. I think everyone's excited. I think everyone's excitement is because it's Philly. I don't think you're wrong. And I think AJ asked an excellent question yesterday about like the rivalry being renewed in a sense, because Dallas has always been in the conversation when you're talking about the Philadelphia Eagles and like the upper echelon of the NFC East. Rightfully so. Like the evidence is through the season's worth of records, right? Excuse me, the year's worth of season records. Dallas and Philly always compete for number one, number two. Washington had that random season where they, get 10 wins or 9 wins. And it'll be the year that Dallas or Philly is some cold shit. Terrible. And that's the reason why Washington is propelled to the number one seed in the NFC East. Number one standings. This is different, bro. Not only does Washington surge in the regular season and have an outstanding 12-win season, and it's not like from the standpoint of being 3-7, 0-5, 2-6, whatever, like, and having to go on a win streak. They were consistently good from start to finish. Not only that, we're talking about they are two weeks into the postseason and still alive. Everyone's excitement is because it's Philly. They thought that this was going to be a wild card matchup at one point. And you know what's crazy, bro? I know Washington fans do dish it out on social media, but the loudest people have been, and if I'm being biased, so be it, but I am genuinely telling you, I do not think that I am. But the loudest people have come from the Philly side from the standpoint of they speaking from a standpoint of like prestige, or like speaking from a standpoint of like some insecurities. I don't know. Or maybe just confidence. Like, I'll give them some credit. Maybe they're just confident, like super confident. And I would say this, bro. It's funny that Washington was expected to lose in the wild card round, and people said, when they won, "Oh, we ain't tripping. You're gonna get knocked out in the second round." We made it past the first round, made it past the second round, and it's like, okay, y'all did y'all thing, but y'all not making it past the title game. It's like if you can't get bounced in the round that they predict, it's like the next round you ain't gonna make it out either. It's like just moving with the wind, as opposed to like really understanding who Washington is as a team, despite what you may think about their defense. They are a dangerous team. This was a team who gave up on paper 500 yards against the Detroit Lions. Mind you, we're talking about a team in Detroit who was getting their ass bust in the fourth quarter. They was down multiple possessions. You are going to throw yourself back into the game. You're going to give up some yards. I would say about 100 of those 500 plus yards is garbage time. They got their ass bust. But not only that, you forced 5 turnovers against the Detroit Lions. And there's a group of people out there who don't believe in what Washington is bringing to the table. You think because the defense on paper ain't good, like bottom half of the league, that they are incapable of getting stops, getting off the field, getting the ball back to that dangerous man at quarterback? Y'all are still sleep on Washington. Like, I'm asking the question. I don't think that's the case. I mean, excuse me. Let me rephrase that. I think that's the case, but I don't think that's a good idea. It's a terrible idea. and you sleep your way all the way to the NFC title game, and when that game starts and you find yourself in a one possession game down late, you better hope that Jaden don't get the ball. Because then you ain't got no more, it ain't no more excuses. It's game time. Like, you better hope that we ain't busting y'all ass. I'm talking to the fan base now. You better hope that Washington ain't up multiple possessions towards the end of this game. I think this is one of those moments, bro, where from a preparation standpoint, Washington is going to have every opportunity to go into this game for the third time, second time at the link, and have every answer possible against the Philadelphia Eagles. It's just going to come down to one thing. My man Vanilla, Commanders versus Chiefs Super Bowl. Book it. I would love that. Pat Mahomes, the current GOAT, against the future GOAT. Yeah. Commanders, Chiefs. I love it. I did say for the vibes, what it would feel like if the Commanders went up against the Buffalo Bills. But I'm cool with that Commanders Chiefs. But I'm cool with I'm cool with Washington being in the Super Bowl, period. Because that just means the Eagles lost. I think he's like F Phillies. I don't know about that. My algorithm is feeding me Cowboys and Giants meltdowns. That is actually sad. You need to tap into the Philly fan base. They've been going crazy. I've been arguing with them for 24 hours. I stopped. I had to mute what I was saying so I can stop thinking about it. Because they was getting under my skin. I ain't gonna lie to you. Not from the standpoint I wanted to fight or I was mad. But it's like it was to the point where I felt like I needed to respond to everybody. So maybe you don't need to get the Eagles on your algorithm. They talk so down on Detroit after we beat them, but 90% of the people talking had them spanking us. Let me start at. What's up, D? Good morning. Good morning again to all the morning trappers tapping in. But yeah, like they talk so down on Detroit, and why is Detroit so pressed to mention that they had all these injuries? Why wasn't Washington a concern? I mean, excuse me, why weren't you concerned about losing before the game started because of all these injuries? Y'all thought that this was y'all year going to the Super Bowl. That's what majority of them thought. Point blank, period. But things have changed now. Washington has entered the chat. We needed 5 turnovers. You probably lose that game if it's only 2 turnovers. Maybe. But Al, too, remember, one of those 5 was a pick 6. I mean, excuse me, let me rephrase that. The first 2 was a takeaway in the red zone, and the second one was a pick 6. So you get your 10-point lead off that alone. I also think something is interesting here because I'm pausing here right quick. And don't forget, I haven't forgot that I paused that we only need to do one thing when I was talking about the Philadelphia Eagles. I'm gonna come back to that. I'm spinning the block. But I think this is interesting. From where is I'm looking for the quote from Dan Campbell. If I can find it. Am I on the right? Oh, here. Yeah. Okay, here it is. If we bring our B game, we've got a chance to win that game. He says, quote unquote, it was the perfect storm. Honestly, I think the B game part was a little disrespectful. I think he's still caught up in his emotions. But here's what I would acknowledge from the point that he was trying to make. The Lions are the more talented team across the board. No ifs, ands, or buts about that. And if they had the team at full health, who knows how difficult of an opponent that would have been. Okay, we understand that. I think when you look at Washington and this situation, if Jared Goff was schemed up like that, how can you really acknowledge or understand? To me, how can you really come away with if we bring our B game? You got a chance to win. Jared Goff would have had to been flawless. You would need an offensive coordinator who didn't trick himself out of a possible win. Run the football. You probably would have had a better shot. Like, we wasn't giving up no explosive in the passing game for real. And if we look at some of the film, I didn't have a chance to finish it, by the way. Unfortunately, I did say I was going to have it today, but I had to write some articles, etc. Not making excuses is what it is. But if you look at some of the film, you'll see that some of the breakdowns in the secondary was actually not because people were like completely in the wrong position. Some people got picked. And some people's vision in terms of like route concepts were a little bit off base. But those still weren't really like true explosives. Those can get cleaned up. The explosive lies in the running game. Why not keep running it? We weren't going to let you break the game open during in the passing game. We weren't going to let you do that. You had a chance with Jameer though. So for Dan saying if we bring our B game, we got a chance to win that, that's disrespectful. You would have had to bring your A game because Jared Goff didn't even come close to being ready for this game. You can throw 5 turnovers or commit 5 turnovers against the Houston Texans and have a chance, right? If you bring your B game, because you did. You probably brought your C game and you beat Houston. But if you thought you could bring your B game against Washington and still be okay with a team that's on fire and not, again, acknowledging the other side of the football in the Washington Commanders offense, okay, cool. God bless. Turnovers is a great equalizer. That's a fact. Commanders won, and I had a flawless weekend. Vanilla, what was your plays? I know you did the oh no, that was last week. I was about to say the Commanders and Rams money line, but that was wild card weekend. How was your picks going? The big matchup, honestly, is Carter versus our O-line. Barkley rush line at 130.5. Thank you, Vegas. Fuel our defense. We got to get hands on Saquon at the line. Pray AJ doesn't go ape shit on us. I agree. I think that AJ, if people thought that Marshawn Lattimore had a quiet game against Philly, which he did, and that's good, it ain't gonna be quiet this week. They going right back to Marshawn. It's about to be an AJ Brown versus Marshawn game. I think Philly is that arrogant. Like and it's okay to be arrogant, like competitively arrogant in some instances, right? And they express that through their game plan. AJ Brown, what was the first game? I'm about to try and look it up. See how many targets he had. The first game that AJ Brown had against Washington when they had Marshawn, AJ had 8 catches, 97 yards, 15 targets. 15 targets. Understand that he gonna get active. And Marshawn, he finna get active today too. We're gonna have to earn our Super Bowl bid against the Philadelphia Eagles. Ain't no ifs, ands, or buts about that. You're gonna have to earn it. And Marshawn gonna have to get his paycheck. You're gonna have to earn his paycheck this weekend. So yeah, I think that this is honestly, when we talked about Mike Evans and Marshawn, that was a storyline for sure. And Marshawn got his lunch taken on occasion against Mike Evans. It's gonna be the same thing, and people ain't talking about it enough right now. Probably because it ain't the NFC South, but people ain't talking about this one enough right now. Both of them are still young. AJ Brown, 27. 27 years old. And he got endless smoke to dish out. He a dog. They going right back to him again. You may want to add him to your same game parlay. Telling you. But to that point though, you can't let AJ Brown go crazy. He's going to get his. But if you can find a way to limit his effectiveness throughout the game, we in there. And who knows, bro? Like he had 3-4 drops. I sized it. He had like two big drops against the Rams. Let's see. 7 targets, 2 receptions, 14 yards. He has 3 receptions, 24 yards in the postseason so far. Let's see. Where can we see his drops? Advance. Here it is. He's had 2 drops in the playoffs so far from Pro Football Reference. Okay. All right. Where was I at? Let's keep going. Ertz, if he plays, would be just Ertz playing for sure. Ertz playing. I think what's the dude name? Quinyon Mitchell, he playing. All your parlays. And I did. You know what's funny? I did see that. Congrats, man. Good weekend. I had a 90-1 jump, bro. That's all I needed. That got me back to life. See what I'm saying? I was in like a 2.5 week drought. That 90-1 jump. Woo! Marshawn gonna get his first pick with the Skins this week, and I hope so. D, I ain't gonna lie to you. I hope so. Like, do you know what that's gonna do to the team? Like, if Marshawn gets the pick, gets the interception, like the new guy, he not new to some people. Like some people on the team know him, but like the new guy to the roster comes in, gets a pick at the biggest stage of the NFC playoffs. Gets a pick. And don't let it be like game sealing. Yeah. I don't know what's going on with AJ, but I don't expect it to affect him. Versus praying AJ is checked out. Praying AJ is checked out is fool's errand. All focus is on Saquon. We have to know AJ finna get his. I agree. On the Saquon part, it's similar. Honestly, bro, I think that like the focus needs to be on Saquon, but I also think that the pressure would be on Jalen offensively to make plays for them. I think that Washington, if you can get home and have some success against this offensive line, instead of like letting Jalen pick apart your defense, and when I mean pick apart, I mean like not being prepared to cover up his first read. not playing with integrity, like when plays break down, like not being honest with your eyes. Like if your eyes get caught in the backfield, you are in trouble, right? Scramble drill, that's how you get killed. Plastering, I guess is the word that they call it. Plastering your receiver, your opponent. If you are not, honestly though, I would put Mike Sainristil and Marshawn Lattimore on Devontae Smith and AJ Brown only. I'm not putting Igbenogany. I mean, and realistically, he's going to have some matchups against these guys because he may play in the slot. But realistically, bro, in my opinion, I don't want him. Like, if any of those guys are in the slot, move Igbenogany outside and put Sainristil or Marshawn inside. I mean, because you're not hiding Noah. Noah's has had a solid season, but I ain't taking no chances against those two guys. I want my best two following their best two, no matter where they are on the field. And Noah, you strap up that third receiver, Jahan Dotson. You strap him up. That's all you got to do. And honestly, bro, I think to the point of stopping Saquon, yeah, I wouldn't really trust Washington. I wouldn't really trust Washington's defense if they had to like run those two high coverages. Bring that defender down closer towards the line of scrimmage. Don't allow for explosive plays, but you got to find a way to stay gap sound, gap discipline. You can't cheat on the second level. If you cheat on the second level, you cook. Because Saquon is a master manipulator. He's going to get you out of your gaps with one move and bounce right back where you left. And I know the coaches know that. It's actually what Jahmyr Gibbs did a couple times against Washington. Let me see if I have an example on deck. Is it this one? Let's see. That's not it. Not the example. I mean, that's a big run, it's a 12-yard run, but not the one that I want to kind of point to because Washington is exposed to some things. Let's see if it's this one. Yes, it's this one. All right, here we go. Can't get out of your gaps. Cleveland Farrell tries to make a lunge at Jahmyr Gibbs, which I understand. Like, you're trying to make that play, right? But once you go down, it leaves this gap, right? It's B gap right here. You get Jahmyr manipulating that second level, right? Bouncing inside of 77 to the right of 77. That gets Frankie Louvu out of position. He's no longer outside to try and close that space between Jahmyr and the line of scrimmage or support, and then bounce it right back outside. But 33. That happened a couple times in that game. But obviously it happens a couple times throughout the season with Washington. And you got to just be disciplined, bro. I think what I'm confident in, though, while, of course, Washington's coaches are going to want their players to make plays and be them. That's what got them here. I also think that coaches have done a good job preparing Washington and their unit both weeks of the postseason. And that's what I'm confident in. Like, I think that is an underrated aspect when we look at these matchups. Like, this coaching staff that Dan Quinn has gathered is incredible. Offensively and defensively. That shouldn't be overlooked. And their response to what they wanted all season long, create turnovers, be fast, be physical. Be fast, be physical have been elements throughout the entire season. Like, we've seen it, and now it stands out even more in the postseason. but you weren't creating turnovers consistently. Against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, you didn't really force it, but you was there. You was Johnny on the spot. Against the Detroit Lions, man, excellent day. Don't worry about how many yards you gave up. You gave Washington's offense opportunities to score, extra opportunities to score, and they did that. You actually put the ball in the end zone defensively too. So I trust Washington's coaching staff. They up against a monster, but I trust their coaching staff. Okay, let's keep it going. Where we at? Would you rather Trent Scott at right guard or Wiley? What's up, Key? Hey, good morning to all the morning trappers out there. Appreciate y'all checking in. I don't know why I took this off. Put this back on. There's no sound on right now. But I like the comfort. Okay. Matter of fact, hold on. I'm tripping. Let's play. Hey, so Key, we're gonna get back to that in a second. We were talking about the coaching staff. I just want to show this one thing. Now, this is a little lengthy clip, so I may not play the whole thing, but this is Dan Quinn and his development, or what he sees in a coaching staff, basically creating team staff alignment and as well as culture and creating a standard. This is what he had to say. This is James Light. James Light is an offensive coordinator at Warren De La Salle. I think that's a high school. Anyway, here we go.
And I think it's one of the hardest things. What I think I've learned in my life, two things. One, I love doing hard things with a group of people. And I also learned that people problems sink you well before football problems. And football problems meaning, hey, we can change a protection, we can change a coverage. There's an adjustment to make. The people problems, if you don't have those right, the tight end's upset with the quarterback. This defense coordinator is not talking to the linebacker coach. Those are things that you have to make sure that you have great feedback on, because finding out about those things after the fact can really be upsetting, because that's not really competing to say, hey, we got an issue and we got to go solve it. So I think you have to say the hard things, but you don't have to say them in a hard way. All that said, confront the issues when they come up. Don't wait overnight. Don't wait in the next day. And I think for me, I think it's also important, even in this day and age, if there's an issue with a player or coach and somebody texts you, call them back. Don't rely on a text. Like if it's something about a player or coach, call them directly. Hear their voice, hear their that, because it can be misunderstood in a text. So having some honesty about it is difficult. Players don't often tell coaches what they're upset about. Same thing back and forth. So digging into the issues and having some truth tellers on your staff is important. One of the lessons I would say I learned is, as a head coach, people tell you what they think you want to hear sometimes, as opposed to what you need to hear. And for me, I'm pretty optimistic and positive. So maybe people didn't think, hey, I don't know if I should go to that with Dan. He didn't want to hear that. Like, just the opposite, man. Like, that's exactly what I want to hear. If it's about the program and the players and the team. If it's about bitching about something outside the organization, no, I don't really want to hear about that. But if it was about the program, I wanted to hear about it, good or bad. And so I think having some truth about it, and that's a man-sized commitment or woman-sized commitment to say doing the right thing and having each other's back. Hey, we're going to say it when we see it.
So elements of creating a culture and what he wants in his players, what he wants inside the locker room, what he wants from his coaching staff. And I think we are well aware of the people that he brought in and the people that were willing to work with him. And obviously, even from a player standpoint, people who can communicate, right? Sanders still rookie, but he can communicate. Bobby Wagner, veteran, communicator. Like Jon Allen, he didn't bring him in, but he's a communicator, right? We may not like his pregame speeches. I sure as shit don't. But he's a He's a communicator. Hey man, offensively, we know who that is. Terry, Zach Ertz. Like, he may not like public speaking. Some of them don't, but in smaller settings, they'll talk. They communicate. I think all of that is essential to how they've gotten so far in the first year. So let's get back to key. I would rather have Trent Scott at right guard. I think Wiley has had a solid Andrew Wiley. Andrew Wiley's had a solid season at right tackle. He's actually been playing pretty well in the playoffs. Bro, like, so many players have elevated their game in the postseason. So many players have elevated their game in the postseason. Andrew Wiley being one of them. I think that when you look at Andrew Wiley in his position, I think the athlete or the athletic side for this offensive line needs to stay outside. Brandon Coleman, Andrew Wiley, obviously Sam Cosmi if he was here, but he isn't for that. I like Tyler Biadasz being next to Trent Scott as opposed to only Andrew Wiley being next to Trent Scott if he was at tackle. I think that Tyler Biadasz is going to do a really good job of making sure that he's in the right position and he understands who to ID and key on. Obviously, Jaden Daniels is going to make sure, that, he's protected, that Trent Scott is protected by making quick decisions and being decisive. It's something that he's been able to do this entire postseason. Like, I don't know if you all have noticed, but Jaden Daniels actually is he leads the NFL in the postseason in sack percentage, like by a wide margin. He has the best sack percentage in the NFL. I think he's at like 0.6. I mean, he's only got sacked once out of so many dropbacks. So I think that Trent Scott needs to play right guard. Also, something that I don't know if you all have caught on to, Quinn had mentioned on Sunday, I think it was Sunday, that they're comfortable with Trent Scott at right guard because he plays that in practice. He plays all across the line, but more importantly, right guard on the scout team at practice. So he's not unfamiliar with the position. I do think, though, the Jalen Carter situation is a bit of a concern because, like, he's a dog. And, like, I think you're going to have to dedicate a significant amount of resources on Jalen so he's not disrupting the game completely. He's going to have some moments. And now you're going to have to rely on Jaden, right? But I think you're going to have to invest some significant amount of resources on Jalen Carter this upcoming Sunday. How do you think Cosmi injury will affect the game? That's an excellent question. Well, for one, I mean, he's good as a run blocker and pass blocker. He's not great at anything like Trent Williams, comparatively speaking, right? Like, you're talking about like the last offensive lineman who was great at multiple things. Cosmi's good at both things. But I think from a Cosmi standpoint, having his athleticism, being able to maneuver from a pass protection standpoint, pass set standpoint, having that IQ, like the vision to make plays and key in blitzers. I'm not saying you lose that, but what I'm saying is the level in which Cosmi was able to do that. Like, you'll see him peel off from the right side as an uncovered player and find work on the opposite side of the offensive line and make that block. and make a block from a blitzer on a blitzer or a free man. Like, that's high level IQ. I think that Cosme, it's a rough loss. But I think what you gain in Trent Scott is a person who can really like create some movement in the ground game. And that bodes well against Philly because them boys don't give up nothing in the run. But if you can generate some push on that right side, more so the interior, Biotis and Trent Scott, you got a good chance to stay as balanced as you want to be against Philly. We'll see. What's up, Alex? Good morning. Good morning to all the morning trappers checking in. What's up with you? Take Chiefs money line. Not gonna lie, Milano probably gonna be out. It will move by like 2.5 by kickoff. B-Rob is the X factor. I think B-Rob is definitely a player who has to find himself against Philly. This is a redemption game for him. You know, last time he was out there, 2 fumbles? I don't even think he had 30 yards. Let's double check. Talking about he think they the better team. They won that game. B-Rob had 10 carries. Yeah, 10 carries, 24 yards. Nasty. So yeah, I think B-Rob has an opportunity to redeem himself too, man. He had a terrible game against Philly the second time. And I think Washington, if they can establish some type of ground game, is going to be on the backs of that right side of the offensive line and obviously B-Rob as well. I don't think, you're going to see B-Rob having a 100-yard day. But if you can get a good 50, like when I mean good, I mean a healthy average. If you get a good 50 or 60 out of B-Rob, you're in good shape. D-line needs to carry last week's performance against the best O-line in the league. Jaden looking at Terry is causing chaos to defensive coverages. Diami eating off that chaos. The ball stays in Jaden's hands as much as possible. Runs are options. Runs with Jaden, decision making being a deciding factor. Let's not forget that Jaden is in a position where he's averaging over so far averaging over 300 all-purpose yards on offense. Like, he is the offense for Washington so far. And I do agree that the ball needs to stay in Jaden's hands as much as possible. No ifs, ands, or buts about that. But I also think we need to remember the healthy balance that Washington, like when Washington is successful, they have a healthy balance. Now, granted, Detroit Lions, when we spin back to them, that's an injured defense, and you can be a little bit more flexible in terms of how you distribute the ball. But Tampa Bay, it was definitely in Jaden's hands. I'm not going to, sugarcoat that. Matter of fact, how many yards did B-Rob have? They didn't really have too much. I'm drawing a blank, though. I ain't going to lie to you. All right, here it is. The ground game, from the running backs. 43 yards between Eckler and Robinson. And Jeremy McNichols had 1 yard. So I let Jaden do his thing. Honestly, we at the point where you need it more than ever, more than before. It's a championship game. You want your players to step up. I'm with that. And that's why, I think B-Rob, if you can get him with a healthy 50 or 60, even Eckler, whoever has the hot hand, I think Eckler's going to have an opportunity to break this game open too from the touches that he can get. But you get we all get the point. Jaden really needs to be the one that's in control. And I think Cliff, of all people, recognizes that. I think that Cliff isn't going to give or take the ball away from Jaden. They made good adjustment at halftime too. What up, Dragonfly Jones? I know who that is. What's up, player? That man up off the E. It must be Lil Man. Hey, bro, don't waste my bread, bro. Don't waste my bread, bro. Get that man souped up in some Commanders gear. I actually know somebody who does well, we both know her. But she's an artist, man. Bree, bro. She she does the Jaden t-shirts, man. Get my little man souped up in some Commanders gear, bro. Get him some more. And don't let us win. Hey, don't let us win this week. You getting some more. You're getting some OKs. We making sure that boy is souped up for years. I'm about to get him a larger shirt so when he grow up or when he get bigger, he can have it. Rich, what up? Amara, what up? Good morning to all the morning trappers checking in. Hold on, wait, what? You ain't talking. Hold on, wait. Why I say, hold on, wait. First off, let me take back my good morning. Because you can't be talking about me. How was I? I'm the one who said we was going to win. Matter of fact, all three of us on the show on Trapper Dive Commander side said we was going to win. So, Amar, I'm just going to acknowledge. I'm just going to leave it at that. I don't know where you came from. I was pleasant because I saw your name, but you came in here lying. And now I'm a little frustrated. But you're not going to upset me this morning. Have a good day, sir. Or ma'am. I'm not sure who this is because I'm a little confused. DQ demonstrates great emotional intelligence. That is a fact. Let me start at. Against two blitz happy teams at that. And he don't get touched. That's the thing. He didn't get touched. He had one sack on the playoff so far and one sack for 0 yards. He basically ran out of bounds. I think that was a Levante David play, matter of fact. So he really didn't get touched in the pocket against either team. And on top of that, we're talking about a Tampa Bay Buccaneers pass rush who came alive in the second half when they got their guy back. What's his name? Kalijah Cansey, the guy who got stiff armed to Cancun. So, yeah, man, I think that Washington and the greatest thing about this week, or the one element that's different, is the fact that the Philadelphia Eagles, they don't pressure. Well, excuse me, they don't send extra guys to pressure. They just rely on their front four. They live and die by it. I think Jaden, honestly, bro, like he's proven time and again, like this ain't a season, or excuse me, this ain't a person who fails twice at a test. And that's why I'm so optimistic about Jaden. Carter won the Eagles game last week. That is a fact. And the more frustrating thing, when you look at the all 22 or like the sky view, that boy Cooper Kupp wide open over the middle, and Matt Stafford couldn't get the ball to him. JD5 makes his O-line look better. That is true. Who are your X factors for this game on the offensive side of the football and defensive side of the football? Garage, what's up, player? Good morning. What's up? Good morning to all the morning trappers. X factors. It remains De'Ami Brown offensively. Matter of fact, Key. Good question, bro. What's everybody's X factors offensively and defensively? I feel like we're gonna have this conversation again on Friday, which is perfectly fine for me. And maybe we do some call-ins. Ooh, it ain't no football on Thursday. Let's get some. We ain't do no call-ins on the shows in a little minute. It's championship weekend. We're gonna do some call-ins this week. X factors. What are y'all X factors offensively and defensively? Mine's for the offense is Jaden Daniels first and foremost. He is literally the biggest X factor in the game. Jaden Daniels. I think additionally outside of him, it'll be honestly, if you think for Washington, you're talking about a compared to Philadelphia, a team that is not as talented. But what does that mean when I answer this question? I think X factors apply to all of the superstars that they have. Everybody hands on deck. But if I had to do like the subtle ones, Austin Eckler, Zach Ertz, offensively, De'Ami Brown. De'Ami Brown is second in the NFL this postseason in yards. Terry's third. Or no, I'm sorry, they're third and fourth. De'Ami's third, Terry's fourth. And this guy, De'Ami, has, for 2 games in a row, taken the top off the defense. And while he ain't hit no 60-yard bombs or no 70, no 50 plus, he spanked some teams for 40. He was eating on the intermediate level against Tampa Bay. And I think against the Philadelphia Eagles, it's not going to stop. It's going to be more difficult, and his opportunities will be limited, right? I think the opportunities will be limited, but Washington is going to have opportunities to target De'Ami beyond the first level. It's going to be up to De'Ami to make them plays. I think he delivers, but I don't think he'll see like 6, 7, 8 plus targets. He'll probably get like 4 or 5 targets. He'll probably have like 1, 2 deep shots. If you get 1 from De'Ami, yeah, you get 1 from De'Ami, that's good. Austin Eckler, I mentioned him. The first game that Washington played against Philly, he had like 8 catches, 88 yards. He didn't do too much in the run game, but I think he had over 100 all-purpose or yards from scrimmage is kind of the way they describe it. Let me go back. Hold on. I ought to double check. Where's the game at? My bad. Scroll. All right, here it is. Oh, he had 90, he had 96 all-purpose yards. That's still good. Don't get me wrong. But 96 all-purpose yard, almost 100. The way that he can create in the ground game and the passing game, he's an explosive player who can make defenders miss. One of the best things outside of the Eagles' pass rush is their ability to tackle. Open field, like it's hard to break free. But if you get Austin Eckler in space, like that's the one dangerous guy where you look at the Philadelphia Eagles and say, all right, we can steal a couple of first downs or create some explosives so long as we find a way to get Austin Eckler the ball in space. I want to take advantage of that. And then I mentioned Zach Ertz as well. And I think Zach Ertz is going to be a critical component to this game. Like, I don't know if you all have been able to see Zach Ertz over these first 2 games, bro. Like, when he doesn't have the ball, when he has the ball, his intensity goes through the roof. Like, it don't matter if he don't got the ball. I think this is like that championship level competitor that oozes out of Zach Ertz. And honestly, it's impressive to see. Like, I knew that Zach Ertz was playing good ball this year, but like the last 2 weeks has been incredible. And he ain't been dropping like 9 catches for 150 yards, nothing like that. He don't even have that in him no more. He's 47 years old. He can't even run like he used to, but he can run them routes. I think Washington is going to need the best out of Zach Ertz. And I think for Washington to be playing his former team in the Philadelphia Eagles in the championship game, and he goes back to the link, bro. I mean, the first game that he had, it was 6 catches for 47 yards. I think he'll have himself another day, like another 5-6 catch day. But he'll find a way. He'll find a way to get open. He's on fire, man. He's on a hot streak, bro. And I think he's going to show his ass against the Philadelphia Eagles. I don't think he's going to dominate again. I don't think he's going to dominate for like 100-some yards. But I think you can probably get 5-6 catches out of him. He'll probably have some big explosives in terms of 1 or 2. But in terms of like being able to really stretch the field from a tight end standpoint, creating stress on those linebackers there. With all due respect, Zach Bond's playing good, like athletic guy, fast guy. He's playing good in coverage as well. But Zach Ertz, the veteran, you're gonna have problems with him. And the fact that Jaden is so locked in with these receivers, bro. He's leading. We talked about what he's leading the league in sack percentage. He's also leading the league in completions. He's leading the league in completions, bro. Let's go through the list that everybody has, and then I'll go to defense. DJ, what's up, player? Good morning. Good morning, everybody that's checking in. Morning, trappers. What's up? People that's new, welcome to the show. Welcome to the channel. If you are new, appreciate y'all tapping in. Shout out to the people. We said it yesterday. Shout out to the people who just helped us get over that 3,000 subscriber mark, man. That's huge. We appreciate all the support, by the way. I appreciate the support. Oh, wait, is my film session done? It's not. Okay. Appreciate all the support. You all can follow me on Twitter, by the way, at Let Mual Tell It. If you all want to get on the social apps, I mean, that's the only one I really got for real, outside of Instagram. But if you want to follow the social apps for some Commanders commentary, we can chop it up on there as well. DJ says offensively Trent Scott, defensively Mike Sandrisdale. Frozone. Okay. I understand the Trent Scott one. This playoff run got me feeling like I'm 15 years old again watching Doug make history for us. Told y'all, boy, when I got done with recording that R32 last night, I told the boy, I said, I'm going to sleep. I gotta wake up, get ready for the next day. These next days just gotta keep on coming through. How do I fast forward to Sunday? Has to be X factor, has to be someone running a rock. Defensively, I'm leaning towards our D line, standing there, gaps, playing discipline. Yeah. You kind of on the same page as me when I said, like, if we can get now, you said someone running the rock, so I'm not necessarily you saying B-Rob, but kind of to my point of like, if you can get a healthy average, a healthy 50-60 from a player, you are in good shape against these guys. So we'll put a wild card up there as a running back. Defensively, I'm leaning towards our D-line, standing there, gaps, playing discipline. I like Johnny Newton, and I'm not even my tone. I realized it in real time. My tone made it sound like I was about to downplay him. I'm not. I like Johnny Newton, but I think this is a game that's built for Jon Allen and Daron Payne. Johnny's going to get his snaps. He's going to play. There is no ifs, ands, or buts about that. But this is the game that's made for Jon Allen and Daron Payne. You all been playing these guys for 6 years now. 6-7 years. You've been playing against this Jalen Hurts led offense for 3 years now, 3-4 years now. You are one of the two of the leaders of that defensive line. And while these are all like non-football factors that I'm playing, that I'm like discussing right now, I think the mentality is where I'm saying, like, you got to be aware of the situation. Jon Allen had a hell of a day against an offensive line in Detroit who was not injured. Right? We talk about that defense being injured all the time. He was cooking against the offensive line who was not injured, who was one of the best offensive lines in the NFL. And he was generating pressures. He was getting hits on the quarterback, or touching the quarterback, I would say. Not necessarily true hits. His pass rush moves looked there. I think that one of the things against the Dallas Cowboys, specifically the last game of the season, the last time I was able to do a full defensive breakdown, he looked a little rusty in terms of like his pass rush moves, his ability to corner once he wins. He looked a little slow off the ball. He doesn't look the exact same against the Detroit Lions. Looks a little better. And the fact that he's doing that against that offensive line in Detroit, I forgot the left guard's name. I would be more specific, but I forgot their names. That is a person who understands the moment as well. And I think he needs to find a way to carry that over against Philadelphia. If you can get interior pressure against Jalen Hurts, while granted, I think, believe it or not, I truly think, if y'all remember that first half where Jalen Hurts was playing, there was some explosives, but it was mostly with Jalen Hurts' legs. Washington was having like these 6-7 man disguise pressures. I sliced it. It was not 7, but 5 to 6 man disguise pressures where they're sending the house at Jalen Hurts. Like they're not letting him have an opportunity to look downfield at his first read and make a decision. The issue with that in that second game with Jalen Hurts was that he was finding the gaps in the rush lane. That's why he was taken off. If they were to go back to that same scheme, or even just sprinkle it in there, right? Just a little drizzle. A little drizzle. They sprinkle it in there. Washington can have success, but you cannot get out of your gaps. You get out of your gaps, Jalen takes off. You got to be able to wrap them up too. They actually got home on one of them. Got a hit on Jalen Hurts, but couldn't wrap him up. He took off. That's why he had such success on the ground game before he got hurt. But Joe Witt's game plan and his strategy was there to be had. It was a winning strategy, but you got to have better discipline as the player on the player side. Otherwise, you get killed. It's a boom or bust strategy. I think, honestly, he can go back to it this week as well to help with your D-line. I was rapping for a minute. I like the converse. I like the defensive line comment. Vanilla, Jaden Daniels, defense, Louisville. Louisville needs to show up. And that's not in a disrespectful way. If you all heard the podcast last week with Nick Ackrich at PFF, my biggest thing with Louisville is he's a playmaker, no questions, no ifs, ands, or buts about it. He's around the ball all the time. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. But when he goes quiet, he goes off the map. That's what I mean. Like, he needs to show up. Like, get in the mix. That's all I'm saying. And I agree that he is definitely an X factor defensively. Garage Gem says Trent Scott must have the game of his life. The entire O-line, really, because Jalen Carter is a problem. Defensively, I need Louisville to have a huge impact to disrupt Hurts and Saquon. I'm with you. Ertz should be motivated after his run-in with Sirianni. I would love to know what that truly was about. I really do. I would love to know. Hold on one sec. Okay. Yeah, I would love to know what that was about. Of course, Ertz shrugged it off. And again, back to that competitor side, like he's an ultimate competitor. Ertz is like, I seen it on tape. I'm not lying to you. So whatever it was, I'm sure Ertz is harboring that going into this game. I know he is. Whatever happened, I know he is. Terry and Chin. Terry's going to be the key to keeping Saquon in check. Appreciate you, big dog. B-Rob had 63 in a TD for his game, so maybe he can do that again. Who knows? I think the rookie QBs overall in NFC, AFC championships are 0-5. That is correct. They are 0-5. And they gave Brock Purdy a loss because he started the game. He really got hurt early. Who knows how that game would have went? He could have been the first one to win. Funny enough. Funny enough, Washington, the last time that Philly played in the conference title game, they played against a rookie. And they could have lost to that rookie. We got the chance to help out San Fran. I got cousins in San Francisco right now. They first didn't believe we was gonna make it we was gonna make it out of the wild card. But I spun the block this week. Talk my little shit. He said, man, y'all just better beat Philly, bro. I felt the pain in his voice. I felt the anger, the intensity. It ain't got nothing to do with us. He wants to see Philly's demise. He loves the meltdown. And I hope that we deliver that for him. And honestly, bro, that's why I think like Brock Purdy was probably going to be the one that can, in retrospect, in hindsight, right? I think he would have been the one to do it before it became 0-5. I did say Jon Allen from the ball against the Lions last week on here. He had to get comfortable. This season should tell you that you can throw those stats out the window. JD isn't the usual rookie. That's a fact. Chin got cooked by Gibbs on ankles. He should know Saquon's speed by now. Terry, because we need points and to put pressure on her decision making through scoring points. So I said there was one element that, my bad, defensively, X factor. I think it's going to have to be Frankie Louvu. And honestly, it's two of them. It's Frankie Louvu and Dante Fowler. I called those two out specifically a day. What's today? Tuesday. Today's Wednesday. Called them out. A couple days ago, whatever. Yesterday or Monday. This defensive line is getting pressure on the quarterback, and Frankie Louvu and Dante Fowler has yet to show up in the pass rushing game. Right? Neither one of them have a sack. I don't know what their pressure percentages are looking like. Neither one of them got a sack. And we've made it to the NFC title game. If you can get Dante and Frankie in the mix, the Commanders, Micah Parsons, if you can get that man in the mix, get him on some favorable matchups. Granted, the offensive line for the Philadelphia Eagles is good across the board. So it's not going to be sweet. But that's for Joe Witt to figure out, like where his best matchups for Frankie is going to exist. I think one of the benefits of having Frankie and understanding the attention that he does get is using that as in your advantage. If you can show blitz and have Frankie line up on the edge, or maybe as a stand-up blitz threat in like the B gap, whichever side, and have him drop in coverage, right? That offensive line can shift their protection towards Frankie. Maybe get a free rusher from a second level on the opposite side. Like creative standpoints of getting pressure on Philly but using Frankie as a tool to do it. I think that can work. But also, Frankie's going to have to find a way to win too. Like it ain't just on Joe Witt to scheme it up. Frankie's going to have to win. The dirty player. The dirty guy. The man who's I can't say the I don't know if I can say these words on YouTube. Yeah, I ain't gonna say the words. But all the disrespectful names that you can think of for Frankie Lou, that's who he is. It is what it is. Embrace it this week. Worry about that later. Just get the dub. But X factors for me is Dante Fowler, Frankie Louvu. Dante Fowler, he plays more. He's a true edge. He's done actually solid. He's had some explosives in the run game. I mean, don't like the first play of the game against Detroit. He slices and beats the pulling guards on a power play. Oh, it's the second play of the game. Like second play of the game. Just understanding the splits right here and having the burst to beat the pullers. Like you beat both pullers, bro. Smoke them boys. Like he still makes plays, but we're talking about a player in Dante who we need to come alive as a pass rusher. Help get these sacks. Add your productivity to the mix. And try to get Washington the football back offensively. Okay. Yeah, it is. Al 2 says Lane Johnson and Mariota aren't the matchup we need to be hoping to win. Gee, why ain't it? If you can't pressure the quarterback, Jalen Hurts gonna have all day. I do agree with the interior. I don't disagree with that. But if you ain't trying, then what we doing? Interior pass rush needs to stay alive. But more importantly, they need to make sure that they squeeze the pocket. You ain't really got to get home, but don't let Jalen Hurts escape. Box him in. I agree with the interior pass rush being a big factor. But you need that help from them pass rushes on the edge. And if you can win quick, like Dante Fowler is known to do, find a way to bring him down. You got to bring him down. What's up, Scrim? I know somebody named Scrim. But he don't spell his name like that. Isn't there a couple Eagle players out for the season? I'm sure there is. But if you're talking about as a result of the postseason, Nakobe Dean is the one. Let's see. Injury. Yeah, Nakobe Dean got hurt against who was their first game? Green Bay Packers. So he's the one that's going to be out. And he may miss all of next season too, according to these reports. Oh, that's rough. Yeah, that's rough. So if you're talking about postseason scrim, Nakobe Dean for sure. But in terms of like other injuries, Jalen Hurts did get hurt against the Rams as well as Quinyon Mitchell. But listening to John Stolness, we had him on. He's an Eagles writer for Bleeding Green. John Stolness said that he expects both of them to play. So, you know, it's conference championship. They ain't missing no time for real. Got to make sure Hurts don't run, even if he's hurt. I'm with you. All right. So what is that one thing that I said Washington can't do? We talked about this from the very beginning, and I hadn't gotten back to it yet. They can't turn the ball over. Now, that ain't no secret, right? They got to play mistake-free. That ain't no secret. But Washington is in a position. I want to be clear what mistake-free means. Because they go for it at a high rate, and they missed 2 against Tampa Bay. And they missed 1 against Detroit. Procedurally speaking, got to eliminate the penalties. And I think Washington has done a good job of that in the postseason. I'm about to double check because I don't remember many penalties. I know there was one drive in particular against Tampa Bay where Marshawn was getting teed up. Wow, come on, bro. I'm about to steal ESPN. How many penalties they had? Yeah, they had 4, and 2 of them came on one drive, if not 3. So, to my point, like they essentially had like 1 outside of that one drive. Oh, I'm looking at the Detroit Lions game. Damn, I'm tripping. I was like, hold on. They had 5. So they had like the 3 on that one drive. So yeah, like they've been playing relatively clean in the postseason. Again, we're talking about a team who had 5, like 3 on one drive, essentially 2 the rest of the game. You got to play mistake-free. Can't turn the football over. And to this point, Washington's been able to do that. But we're talking about a team where the offense is drastically better than what you've been playing before in terms of like their strengths. You got Saquon, bro. You got a good offensive line. You got a great defensive line. In Philadelphia Eagles in their front 4. Their linebacking core, like we know the surge that Zach Bond has, the noise that Zach Bond has created for himself in a positive way. You can't be in a position where you're turning the football over or creating mistakes for yourself. I mean, setting yourself back with penalties and things like that. Can't do it. And I think Washington again has done a good job of that. But against Philly, the consequences can be much bigger. We had the boy Saquon back there. Saquon Barkley. Where was I going? There was. Okay. So I want to listen to. Is it? Good growth from Tom Brady and shows Bill Belichick. Okay. So let me actually play. Yeah. Matter of fact, hold on, bro. Let me run a couple things in order. I'm looking at my bookmarks. Let me run a couple things in order. So we talked about Jon Allen for a little bit. Let's hear this clip. This is from, who is this? Sam Monson. Right? Sam Monson broke down Jon Allen. We're going to hear that. Then we're going to hear from De'Ami Brown. Then we're going to hear from Tom Brady. And then we can go ahead and get up out of here. Have these after these conversations. All right. So here is Sam Monson, formerly of Pro Football Focus. He speaks about his production. Ain't no way. All right, here we go. He speaks about Jon Allen's production. Here we go.
I also wanted to give a shout out to Jonathan Allen. There was a 2 or 3 year stretch where Jonathan Allen was one of the best pass rushers in the NFL. I also wanted to give a shout out to Jonathan Allen. There was a 2 or 3 year stretch where Jonathan Allen was one of the best pass rushers in the NFL on the interior, right? It got him paid, former first round pick. His career had been okay up until that point, but nothing spectacular. And then he just starts cooking 2020, 2021. PFF grades are off the charts. Pressure jumps off the charts. He ends up with a double-digit sack season in there as well. And then he kind of cooled off again. Like he sort of hadn't hit that level for a year or two. And then if you Google Jonathan Allen injury this season, what you will find is a bunch of articles that sort of say the headlines are along the lines of Jonathan Allen out for the season with torn pec, right? Tore his pec in week 6, I think, this year, which is usually a season-ending injury. You're out, you're done, forget it. Surgery. It's not just like surgery to repair the torn pec. You're done. You're done for the year. He returned in week 17 this year, right? Plays in week 17, plays in the wild card game against Tampa Bay. I mean, didn't make an impact really in those games other than he returned. Against Detroit, though, this one of the best offensive lines in football deal, he had 7 total pressures, according to PFF, had a 90.2 PFF pass rushing grade, 80.5 overall. That was one of the best games we've seen from him in years. He did it having returned from this season-ending, quote-unquote, torn pec. I mean, that's huge from Washington's point of view. They get one of their best players on defense back to the level he was earlier. Maybe it was only a one-off, right? Maybe he doesn't do that again in the NFC Championship game. But that was absolutely a factor for them winning this game.
So again, the conversation about Jon Allen extends beyond, what we're seeing, but also from like their grading system, their grading scale is just as impressed with Jon Allen's performance. Again, Jon Allen, Daron Payne are going to be the biggest storylines, in my opinion, in terms of that defensive line. This game is made for them. Johnny Newton is a puppy. He can make his splash plays here and there, but the big dogs, the veterans, they're gonna have to be the ones that lead the way on that defensive line. Let's hear from Dyami Brown. Dyami Brown, he had his presser. I wonder if this was. Let's play it. Here we go.
Man, I'm just grateful, even for that opportunity. I know the previous years wasn't like that, but just the opportunity that I'm given, I'm grateful for it. We believe in each other, and the brotherhood that we set, the culture that we set here, and we just want to go out there and be the best that we can be. And we believe in each other from the offense, defense, special teams. We all play a part in what we do, and I just appreciate the guys that's in that locker room.
What's so crazy about Dyami in this situation, bro? I think for a person who has had the career trajectory that he's had to this point, literally up until 2 weeks ago, it's incredible to see someone maximizing what they're capable of, but on a consistent basis on the biggest stages of the season. Like, it don't get no better than performing like this in an elimination game. Season's over if you don't make your mark. Season's over. And Dyami has come into this postseason after missing some time towards the latter end of the season as a complete wild card in himself. Like, coordinators defensively didn't know what to expect of him. They knew how Washington used them, but they didn't know what Cliff had in store for him. And they didn't know that Dyami was also ready for the opportunity. One of his things in the past have been like those random drops that's been a little frustrating. Sometimes he struggled in terms of being able, like the nuance of route running. I'll keep it a little bit broad as that. I think that he struggled in that aspect. But I also think that what's helped him to this point is having a coaching staff and a quarterback that believes in him. Right? You don't get this many targets that Dyami is getting if a coaching staff and a quarterback doesn't believe in you, bro. All right, here we go. That's a testament to his work ethic. And Terry speaks about him. I'm sorry. Terry is super happy and proud of Dyami. Like, Terry almost got emotional talking about Dyami Brown. Like, that's how much Dyami means to him. So I think for Dyami, I mentioned I don't think he's going to have like 8 or 9 targets against Philadelphia, but he's going to have like probably 5. And maybe 2 of those are going to be some big opportunities. He has to come down with those and make the play the same way he's been making it in the first 2 weeks of this preseason. Of the postseason. Let's go ahead. Let me read some of the comments, and then we'll hear from Tom Brady on Jaden Daniels. Conference teams won a turnover battle 10-0. Shout out to you, Al, too. See, that's why you a trapper, bro. Last time we played, B-Rob had two fumbles. And he had 3. I think we did have 3 fumbles though in the game. And then we had let's see. Cause now I got my mom wondering. Yeah, Austin Eckler. But he ain't lose that jump. No, that's the wrong game, bro. Come on, man. Damn it. What they doing, bro? The wrong game, bro. All right, try this again. Dyami Brown. He fumbled. Like Dyami Brown, and Brian Robinson fumbled twice. And we had the 2 picks. Speaking of Dyami Brown. I'd be interested to see how the Lattimore versus AJ matchup goes. AJ got the better in the first game, and I'm wondering how does Witt have him follow like that game, or does he switch it up this time? Yeah, it don't matter to me, bro. As long as as long as Marshawn and Mike Sanders still is on Devontae Smith or AJ Brown. Like those, it needs to be best on best this game. No matter how you do it, you can switch it up. But those 2 need to be on Devontae and AJ. Wouldn't mind doubling AJ and having Marshawn man against Devontae. Squeeze the pocket, contain Saquon. Force Ertz to beat you from the pocket without AJ going. Oh, without AJ go balls as an outlet. I was like, hold on, bro. I don't know if that's pause worthy, but I was just reading it fast. Get points on the board. Force Kellen Moore to see if he will abandon the run like Cohen and Ben Johnson did. Dyami playing for that bread. That's a fact. What up, Hawk? Good morning. Good morning to all the morning trappers. Peacecraft, I see you. Hawk, what's up? Dyami is playing for that bread. He looking for that payday. And honestly, at this point, if you can, I don't see a reason why. You got two receivers on the roster after this year, bro. If you can maximize Dyami to this point and you comfortable with him, I don't see a reason why you don't extend him. 2-3 year deal. He's only 25 years old. He's entering his prime. He's not even there yet. He's entering his prime. If you can get 2 really good years out of Dyami Brown, it's a win if you re-sign him. I think Dyami's just being used correctly now instead of just that deep post and slants. I don't know what a fair deal is. I ain't gonna lie to you. From a market standpoint, I don't know what a fair deal is. With that being said, I don't mind taking a shot. So me taking a shot again ignorantly, I do not know what a fair market deal is. I'm not even in that state of mind, but I don't mind playing the game. 3 years. The 3rd year being an option, but 3 years, maybe around $8 million a year. Maybe around, let me rephrase that. Maybe between $6 to $8 million a year for Dyami. That's not too much. It's not too low either. That's not too bad. Diami deep targets depend on Philly coverage schemes. If they finna single up Terry, then that is always a primary option. Who would you have replace Comey this week? Trent Scott. Keep it at Trent Scott. Y'all know how I feel about Mike Dieter. Anytime he had to fill in that center, I hated it. I didn't even think he prepared for the games. Like I think he showed up to work, was happy to be there. Probably had a 40 or maybe a couple shots at Henny before the game started so he can feel warm on the sideline because he ain't expect to get in. And then he got in and assed it up. I don't care if he had good moments against who was the team that they played after. I think it was the Cowboys. I don't care if he played good against the Cowboys. He ain't good enough to me. So I'm replacing Cosme with Trent Scott. If you missed it earlier, Dan Quinn had mentioned, I think Tuesday or Monday, that Trent Scott isn't unfamiliar with the position in itself either. He's been playing guard all season in practice. He's been moving around across the offensive line, period. But he's been playing guard in practice all season, so it's not an unfamiliar spot for him. So Trent Scott, he'll be fine. He'll be fine at guard. And with that knowledge, because I didn't actually, I was a little freaked out that Trent Scott was playing guard in real time when he came in. I was like, why the F is he playing? Why is the tackle playing guard? What is going on? But I didn't have the foresight or knowledge that he did scout team practice playing guard. So it is what it is. If you compare the current receiver to the posse, Terry is Art Monk. Diami is Ricky Sanders. We just need our Gary Clark. Wasn't Art Monk like, I'm young? So it's not an insult either. But wasn't Art Monk slow? Wasn't he a slow receiver? Though I get what you're saying in terms of the comparison. And they do need a trio. They need that dog. They need that third dog. Anyway, let's close out with this quote from Tom Brady on Jaden Daniels. He said this on his show, Let's Go with Bill Belichick and Jim Gray. Let me actually show this on the screen because it's a long read and you can also read it for yourself. Now let's do. Can I zoom in a little bit? That's not working. Let's try this one more time. Okay. How do we really evaluate confidence? How do we evaluate poise? Because some people have it. The moments are too big for them. They look at the challenge and they think about, man, this is going to be amazing when we go out and beat these guys. And other guys look at the challenge and go, oh man, I really don't want to mess up. And I think that fear of failure instilled in a lot of people in early points of their life keeps them from the ultimate confidence that they have in themselves, which allows them to grow to their maximum potential. So even though Jaden Daniels is just a rookie, he has that poise and confidence. Imagine, I guess, another correlation. Look at a young Tiger Woods. He never had proven on the big stage that he was ready for those big moments in the Masters in '97. But he had proved that to himself in all those junior amateurs that he won. That he didn't care who he was playing. It was him versus him. Hawk, I am using a Windows machine. I'm on my desktop. Oh, stop sharing. What am I doing? Stop sharing screen. I think the element of confidence is, like even what he said to the point, like some people have that fear of not messing up. I didn't even think about it from that perspective of like, that's a lack of confidence. I think it's just the idea of like, I want to be on my A game. And maybe anxiety stems from a lack of confidence. Sometimes it probably does. Like sometimes there's healthy anxiety, but like you're excited to do something. But then sometimes it's the inverse. Jaden is most clearly, my bad, y'all. Jaden is most clearly ready for the moment. He's shown time and time again in big spots. And it's not just the playoffs, right? For Washington and the fan base, we have seen throughout the season him being ready for the moment, right? The Cincinnati game was the biggest example. You go on the road after a game, you just kicked 6 field goals and got the win. Granted, he did lead them to a game-winning drive against the New York Giants that people on social media, for whatever reason, don't want to give him credit for because it's the New York Giants. The New York Giants were not 3-14 at the time. They were only 0-1. But a game that you don't score any touchdowns. And you go on the road against the Cincinnati Bengals, who are 0-2. You drop 38 on their head. You close the game out at the end with a bomb to Terry. Gets you up 2 possessions. Game over. I mean, they score a little garbage time touchdown. Shout out to James, aka Dragonfly Jones, in the chat who hit a same game parlay that day. Could have came up 5 bands and cashed out. He still had pretty good money. I ain't gonna put his whole total out there. He came up pretty good money on the cash out. Anyway, that was the first signal of, just exactly what he's capable of in big spots. Like, the pressure's on him. Not to mention 5, including the postseason, 5 game-winning drives. Like, he does this. He's done it 5 times as a rookie. I mean, the Chicago game, when you're talking about that Hail Mary, people only say like he got lucky because, Hail Marys are pure luck. I don't disagree with the Hail Mary part. But he bought 10 seconds for his receivers to get downfield. The 10-second part is composure. The 10-second part is clutch. The 10-second part is the mental toughness that you need to have to play this position. He bought time without panicking. He didn't lose his feet. He didn't lose his footing. He ran around like it was some schoolyard Hail Mary stuff, and I want my receivers to get downfield. He ran around, bro. And he had the patience. All of those are elements of a person who is very composed in the moment. So that part of the Hail Mary is on Jaden. The Steelers game, they went back and forth. They lost 28-27. But let's not forget, bruh, they gave Zach Ertz a bad spot on the 4th down call. On the 4th down play. They gave Zach Ertz a bad spot. That should have been a first down. Point being, and what's my point about that? He would have led another potential game-winning drive because the drive remains alive. And that was a 4th and 10. So many other instances, smaller instances. I mean, the Dallas Cowboys game, how can we forget that? The bomb to Terry. Nobody knew that the kicker was going to miss the next kick, but the bomb to Terry for 80 yards. You forced yourself back into that game despite having a terrible first half. Not Jaden, the team, having a terrible first half. You fought your way back into that game and had clutch moments throughout that game to help yourself try to get back in it. And obviously the list goes on, bro. To Tom Brady's point in terms of having that utmost confidence, Jaden does a good job of crediting Jesus Christ, his Lord and Savior. And I'm all for it. No ifs, ands, or buts. There is no buts after that. I'm all for it. And I think having that composure is a gift. 6K That was the total. And I remember Chase Brown was the last one. And he scored the last touchdown of the game. Again, you came up, but I ain't gonna tell them what you came up with, but like the total that you could have won is $6,000. But where am I at? Matter of fact, speaking of James, like let's talk about video games for a second. Not him. We just play video games. But like clutch moments being composed. You play Warzone. You play Call of Duty. Let's talk about it from a human standpoint. We aren't professional athletes, right? People, the last person alive. If you play Warzone, you understand the language that I'm speaking. You the last person alive on your squad. It's the last circle. Maybe 2 more circles left. You got enough bread to buy back, or you need some bread to buy back, but you're scared to make a move. Or you got to shoot somebody. And your lines get a little squiggly. You empty the clip, don't hit one person. You ain't built for the moment. There's some people, like myself, who hits all the shots. Nah, bruh. But you get what I'm saying, though. Like, from a person standpoint, think about your day-to-day, or think about, like, competitive moments in your life that you still take on. Like, I play flag football. Composure is big in flag football. Obviously, it is a competitive sport. Obviously, and it's contact involved. Like, this is like a big deal in the area, and you gotta have moments where you're clutch too, but also composed, right? And having that confidence that you can get things done. Instead of going to a game where it's like, I don't necessarily know if we can get this done, but I'm willing to find out. That's not confidence. And that's kind of what Tom Brady is acknowledging, is that at some point in Jaden's life, you know, he got it really early on that he is capable of doing whatever he wants. And he needs to know that he is the man. And that was installed in him as a youngin, whatever it was. And Tom Brady understands that, and he's recognizing that early on in Jaden's career. And it's good to see it. And it's good to have Washington be the beneficiary of who Jaden is as a player and who Jaden is as a person. Like, there are no distractions with Jaden. And hopefully it stays that way. I mean, it's early, it's his rookie season, who knows? So, like, hopefully it stays that way. I don't think it will change. He seems like a very humble guy. And very respectful publicly. I like that his teammates get along with him. Like, you chop it up with your mans, but outside of that, I'm professional at all times. I'm not going to get caught lacking. But when it comes to my man, we boys. I'm going to talk my shit. We're going to talk ball. We're going to talk sports. We're going to talk maybe about the hoes. We're going to talk about the hoes. Who knows? But outside of that, we're gonna keep it professional, bro. And I think it's good that Jaden is part of the locker room, bro. And that's good. 1v1 or 1v4 for the win. Palm sweating. Yeah, bro. Hawk shit. We know who gonna miss all the shots. Yep. We know. All right. We're going to get out of here. Hey, appreciate everybody who tapped in live. If you're catching the replay, appreciate y'all too. Film session is going to be coming out literally within like the next couple hours, maybe even the next hour. So we'll see from Jaden and Cliff Kingsbury from my perspective, literally within a couple hours, and we'll have more content on that aspect. Have a couple interviews coming out again. Ben Kurt, former NFL player, and Aaron Schatz, creator of the DVOA, all of the analytical stuff. And then we'll be back with the Commanders Morning Show on Friday and the game preview on Thursday. So yeah, y'all take it easy. Enjoy your day. Back tomorrow. back tomorrow.
Chop it down, chop it down, chop it down, you gon' chop it down. Chop it down, you gon' chop it down. Down, set, watch him throw the ball, we gon' pick it off. You gon' let him hit the hole or you gon' cut it off. You gon' play through 4th and long or you gon' punt it off. Your defenders heavy hitters, put your pads in. Don't be looking for the ref to throw no flags in. Keep the helmet on, keep the cleats tight. You the type to want to win by any means, right? You should look alive, this is Trap or Dive.